Welcome to Psalm 58, Contempt for Sinners, and we'll get down to verse 3. We'll see what that's about. It begins as normal to the director, do not utterly destroy. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that means. I think he's talking about when you go into we go into the psalm of utterly destroying a sinner, which is me, or you, hopefully not. And it's attributed to David. For an inscription on a monument, you can add this to your English derivatives book. Steelographion, steel, is one like the Washington Monument. A stele, it's a monument that goes up, has writings on it. And the grapheon means it does have writing on it, graph. And it begins, will truly thus you speak righteousness and judge straight, O sons of men? And this is a question that can be answered yes and no. Generally, or maybe not generally, but no. E up here, many places takes a no. Shall or E, no, not truly. It takes a no answer at the end after the question. I used to put no after these types of questions when it began with an E, but that was, I think, in the first edition, but then I changed it because I didn't want to editorialize so much. Leave it up to the reader. So will truly thus you speak righteousness and judge straight, O sons of men? No, many of them don't. Many of us don't. We don't speak righteously. I can verify that for myself, and judging straight. And you can judge straightly has nothing to do, in your case or my case, with being a judge or a judiciary. Now, if you are a judge, it would, of course. But we want to judge straightly, see the truth and what way we should judge somebody. A man I worked with years ago, he his daughter had a date with a man, and he came and he was a biker type person, and the man didn't want her to go with him. And he said, well, why are you judging me? You've never talked to me before. And he said, no, of course I haven't, but I judge you by how you look. And if you look a way that I don't like, then I'm judging, and I'm the father, and I can do that. Judging straightly. Now, whether or not the man was right or not for his daughter, it really doesn't matter, but he did judge by appearance, can judge by actions of a person, and past experience of a person that you've seen, what the person says, speaks. There's all sorts of ways of judging people that is not in the judiciary. For even in the heart, you work lawlessness, and the mankind, even in the heart. Lawlessness at that time could have been anything against the Mosaic law. They didn't do the things that it was written down for them to do by Moses. In the earth, your hands closely join in justice. Whenever something that is illegal, you join with them. And in the past, when I was a young man, there were things that were illegal that I did join in doing, that was illegal. And many people did. I'm sure we all have. Now here we have the sinner was, I forgot what it was. The sinner was separated, or worse, the sinners were separated from the womb. They wander from the belly. They spoke lies. I believe we are all born into sin. I believe the Bible teaches that, I should say. Not that I believe makes any difference. The Bible teaches that we are sinners from the womb, and we come out and spoke lies. Little children, pseudo is a derivative. Little children can say things that your father can ask them, did you do this? No, I didn't do that. At a very young age, they spoke lies. Sinners, and yeah, down here in 7, it goes into the contempt. So now here we're talking about the sinners. That is the subject. Now, what about the sinners? We had lawlessness and injustice earlier, and rage to them is according to the likeness of the serpent. Now, exactly the serpent biting somebody and the way the serpent acts, this is the type of the rage that can harm people, kill people, damage them, the lawless or the sinners. And as a mute asp, even plugging her ears, doesn't want to hear the truth. This is figure of speech. An asp, a snake, can't plug its ears, but in the figure it does, which does not listen to the sound of the sorcerer charming and the administering of potions by a wise one. So a person plugs their ears and doesn't listen to the charming of the sorcerer, could be God trying to tell us things, our parents, so forth. And the administering of potions, here we got pharmakevomani. That's a verb in the pharmacology comes from pharmacology comes from this verb and word. And the administer of potions by a wise one, somebody that's telling you the truth, like in the book of Proverbs, and you don't listen to anything that God has written down. God broke their teeth in their mouth. Well, the figure of speech that God is going to deal with the sinner in a harmful way eventually. The Lord fractured in pieces the molars of the lion. And breaking the teeth, as lions do, then at 7 it starts and says, they shall be treated with contempt. By who? By God, as water going along. That's the way they're going. Now, treating the sinner with contempt made me think of, have you shown contempt for any person or anything? I can't think of anybody I really treated with contempt. I suppose there are a few people, but very lightly. It wasn't real bad, but I had a dog named Panther, Black Lab. And Panther loved to go, after I give her a bath, to get out and run down to the park and roll in other doggies' doo-doo and come back, and she'd stink and be dirty, and I would treat her with contempt. Panther, what are you, bad dog, and all kinds of things. Get really mad at Panther, put her head down. And I saw a cartoon by Gary Larson in The Far Side years ago, where it had the male dog knocking on the door of the female dog to pick her up for a date, and he had a nice suit on, and the door is open, and the female dog says, "George, you look really great, and whatever you rolled in sure smells wonderful." Sin, it smells to God. He treats it with contempt. Everybody has sinned, and our sins are treated with contempt. And the sin that everybody has, sometimes it's more than just, we would say, well, where does the sin come from? Well, we have it inside, and we are attacked by the devil. And even Paul was attacked. It says in 2 Corinthians 12:7, and so that I should not be elevated over the excess of the revelation, there was given to me a barb in the flesh, a messenger of Satan, that he should buffet me, and that I should not be elevated. Many people think it's his sight, because he mentions it in places, how the people helped him because of the problem with his eyes. But the barb in the flesh doesn't necessarily mean something just like that. A fleshly barb can be some type of thing that we are being attacked. And here it says in 2 Corinthians, it's a messenger of Satan, that he should buffet me. That is what's happening. The barb in the flesh is a figure, but the messenger of Satan, that he should buffet me, is not a figure. And if Paul can be attacked by a messenger of Satan, so can we. Now, I don't believe that's the same thing as a demon being controlled by a demon. I think that if that's the case, that for a Christian, they have to be walking away from God, or not even belonging to God, and they can be possessed by a demon. But now, being attacked, we all are attacked. Jesus was tested and passed the test with Satan, but many times we don't. And Paul is bringing that out, if that is the case. They shall be treated with contempt as water going along. This is their sinners. And he shall stretch tight his bow, until of which time they shall be weakened. On his bow, an instrument of hunting to kill somebody, or war to kill somebody. And he will eventually eliminate the sinner. The book of Revelation in chapter 6, verse 2 says, and I saw, and behold, a white horse, and the one sitting upon it having a bow, and was giving to him a crown, and he went forth overcoming, and that he should overcome. Now, this could be a portent of God stretching the bow. And then in 8, as beeswax melting away, they, the sinners, shall be taken away in return. The melting away. In Ezekiel 33:10, it says, and you, O Son of Man, say to the house of Israel, thus you spoke, saying, our delusions and our lawless deeds are upon us, and in them we melt away. How then shall we live? So this melting away is going away from God. In Zechariah 14:12, it says, and this will be the downfall in which the Lord shall smite all the peoples, as many as marched against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall melt away while standing upon their feet, and their eyes shall flow from out of their openings, or sockets, and their tongue shall melt away in their mouth. So there's actually going to be a melting away of the flesh. This could be a portent of that. Fire fell upon them, the sinners, and they did not see the sun. And in 2 Peter 3:11, it says, these things, in 12, these things then all being loosed, what kind of persons must you be in holy behavior and piety, expecting the hastening and the arrival of the day of God, by which the heavens being set on fire shall be loosed, and the elements being destroyed by fire shall melt away. Both of them is going to happen in the future, and this cure could be a portent of that. And then in 8, before the perceiving of your thorn bushes, the white thorn shrub, as living, as in anger, he shall swallow them down. Now, I can't quite understand how the perceiving something that hurts you, I suppose, the thorn bushes, that are real, and as in anger, he shall swallow them, the sinners. And it's going to happen as much as something sticking you happens when you get stuck by the thorn bush. Then swallow them, he shall swallow them down. And we have in Hosea 8:8, Israel was swallowed down. Now it became among the nations as a useless item. So swallowing the sinner down, apparently Israel was considered that because it says that God swallowed them down. It was swallowed down. The just one shall be glad. Now we've changed from the sinner. Whenever he should behold punishment. Now, I don't think he's talking about his own punishment, the punishment of the sinners, I'm thinking. And he shall wash his hands in the blood of the sinner. The sinner is basically going to be wiped out, destroyed. In this case, it's sort of like a victim of a warfare or battle of some sorts that's all bloody. That could be very much the battle of Armageddon in the future in the book of Revelation, where it talks about the Lord coming with the blood up to the bridle of a horse. And a man shall say, there is fruit to the just one. There is God judging them in the earth. To the just one there is fruit. And the just one in front of God with all of our sins, pretty hard to do. If you can do that, then you're a better person than I am. I rely, and God is judging them, it says, I rely upon the ransom being paid by Jesus Christ to get me, keep me from going into the hands of Satan or staying there or into Hades. Psalm 59, the Lord is my antileptor, a shielder, and we will find out how he shields us in the next video seminar. Hope you join us. Till then, God bless.